100. I cannot believe that we're recording this. I remember, Muse, we did the first show. It was just me and you, and we were so nervous. We were excited, and I we didn't even really know each other. We talked on the phone a few times and whatnot, and you had to get that liquid courage just to come on the show, and it was a big deal. But would you ever thought that we would have done 100 episodes?
No, never. You talked me into it. I was really freaked out to even do a podcast, but I'm so glad I did because it's been one of the best experiences of my life. So honestly, it's been amazing.
Well, I'm gonna ask you one more question, but I want to introduce HorrO real quick. HorrO, what's going on, my friend? How are you doing tonight, man?
Oh, I'm good. Me and Dexter are here. We're missing Shark Week for this big announcement, but that is okay.
Shark Week.
Oh, and,
He's come with his attire.
and we've got a special guest here, Harrison Smith, the director of Where the Scary Things Are movie, which we're going to announce right now. Harrison, how are you, my friend? How's it going?
Doing okay, thanks. Nice to be here again.
Oh man, yeah, we had you. God, what was it? What film were we talking about? Death House, I think. Yeah, I think we had to Death House. Yeah, and that was a while ago. But I first and foremost, this announcement and the movie is just something I'm super excited about. I can't thank you enough for the opportunity and just working with you. And you're like just one of the coolest people I've ever met on just social media, and then just getting to know you and talking to you on, almost at one point a daily basis, which is really cool. But I know that you brought some friends with you to the show tonight.
Yeah, I'm going to introduce, or do you want me to introduce them, or they can introduce themselves? But this is the teenage cast of Where the Scary Things Are, my upcoming monster movie that we shot last summer. And it's coming out. We can't announce certain things yet about the distributor, such, just we have to wait on that. But it's a well-known distributor, and we're excited about it. And these guys want to do this on the show that gave the movie its name. The movie was originally titled Dark, and we switched it over to Where the Scary Things Are, which is a terrific title. And I'll tell you what, we'll allow them to introduce themselves. And this is kind of that introducing, and off we go.
We'll just start with Riley.
Hello, I'm Riley. I played Mighty in the movie.
I guess I'll go next. I don't know how we're doing this. Hi, my name's Asher. I played Max in the film. It's an honor to be here, by the way.
Hi.
Oh.
Ladies first.
Hi, my name's Selena. I play Ayla in the film.
Hi, my name is Peter. I play Snack in the film.
Oliver.
Hi.
Oh, I'm sorry, Emma.
You're good. You can go.
I played Scribble. I'm Oliver.
All right. And I'm Emma, and I played Jenny.
All right. I think that's everybody. So awesome. Thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out. Harrison, I know that you're enjoying your vacation. I know you're a hard worker, and I just wanted to ask you a few questions, and I'll pass it on over to Muse and whatnot, and we'll kind of just do it like a round robin with the cast.
Sure. And look, there is no such thing as a vacation for me. I just, don't want to neglect, the family aspect kind of thing. But I'm yours, and we'll have a good time with this. So whatever you need from me, I'm here.
All right. Well, first and foremost, we were lucky enough to watch the film and loved it. Like it's just, you think it's going to go one way, and you think you know who the bad guy is going to be, but you really don't. And I, without going into too much detail, I wanted to ask you about where the idea of this film came from.
Sure. The film is inspired from the Slender Man stabbings. And the reason why, not so much the headline that it grabbed, but I noticed when I was in education, a correlation between an apathy and more of a dark kind of feeling coming from kids as the internet grew. It was almost congruent with the rise of the internet and the loss of interest and a rise of apathy among teenagers. And when I read about the Slender Man killings, the stabbings, what bothered me the most about it was, I mean, look, people do awful things to people all the time. It was the fact that these were such young kids. They were girls, number one. And I just don't know what the hell goes through somebody's head. They cultivated all of this. This was so premeditated, and it was so matter-of-factly done. Like, how do you get up in the morning and go, yeah, we're going to take our friend into the woods and stab her? And I just, the reaction of the kids when they were apprehended, this is just beyond anything that I've seen. And it's disturbing. And so the darkness of it gave rise to the title Dark, in which I wanted to give a commentary where, we now live in a day and age of post-Columbine, and school violence has now become almost a regular thing where we constantly have our, this must end, and, never again, and thoughts and prayers and all of that ridiculous bumper sticker mentality, but nobody's doing a goddamn thing about it. And it just seems that we become more desensitized to it with each one. So this movie has a lot to comment on that, particularly revolving around Ayla. And there was no coincidence that Ayla emerges as, I don't want to give away too much about the film, but Ayla emerges as kind of the centerpiece in which all the others are in orbit around her. And that's because of the Slender Man stabbings. So I don't know if I answer your question concisely, but I think that's the best answer that I have.
I think you did. And that's kind of the sense I got. We watch so many horror films, and you obviously, give us so many great films and whatnot. And you're part of so many films, but there's so many different genres and subgenres of films. And the fact of the matter is, one of the scariest things is real world stuff.
Yes.
And if you think about how scary it is to be a teenager, as all of the guests on our show, like, that time of life is really scary because you're so criticized on who you are, and you're deciding who you're going to be, what clique you're going to hang out with, if you're a jock, if you're a nerd, or whatever. It's such a critical point in your life because it's gonna dictate who you're going to become for the most part. And we see that with the Dockers here, and this great group of kids, and they have their own clique, they have their own hangout. They get up to no good, and they have a lot of fun. I think Ayla's character, I'm sorry, Riley's character, Celia's character, is she's the ringleader in a sense.
Oh,
but
yeah.
There's so many different leaders at the same time, from Snack's character and whatnot, and everybody's kind of in charge of this and that. So I just want to shift over to the guests here. Harrison, how did you select, each of these kids that just did such a phenomenal job? These young actors, I should say. I shouldn't call them kids because, I mean, just awesome job as far as giving the cast.
Yeah, first I'm going to have to give credit to Peter for all of that. However, it is interesting to use the word kids because, anybody younger than me is a kid. So, but they're not kids. These are, young adults, young ladies and gentlemen. Working with them, it was never like working with kids. And that was a real pleasure. And I think to see a group of young people like this just band together at a time when everything was falling apart in this nation, to get this done, and most of all show up on time, do what they needed to do, and just, I mean, again, if we said we need you to do this, there was never any why do I, it was always, okay, what do you need me to do? So working with them was beyond a pleasure. And I'm not just saying that because me, I don't bullshit. So it's like, if I didn't think that they were a pleasure, I would just say, well, we made the movie and we're moving on. Peter is the one really that is responsible for assembling this crew of people together, because at the time the film, before the pandemic and the market crash, the film was going to be, financed at a far bigger budget with an entirely different cast. And then the pandemic hit, the market dropped, the Wall Street investors that were lined up in one day called me. The contact for, I had 10 Wall Street investors putting in, a lot of money each. And then my contact called me and he said, and I quote, "I'm sorry, Harrison, this project is FUBAR. Like, that's it. It's over. The bottom is out of the market. The nation is collapsing. We had no idea what was going on at this time. And the movie was dead." Then another company, the present one that will be releasing this, contacted me, and everybody was in free fall at the time. What do you got? What do you got? Everybody needed content because everything shut down. So all your TV production, all your movie production, everything stopped in its tracks. And you may remember that was right around the time Tom Hanks got COVID as well, too. So I went to high school with Peter's mom, and I knew she lived in the area. And I also had attended a number of Peter's dramatic performances in a high school theater group. And he was surrounded by some pretty talented kids as well. And Peter himself has a lot of talent. And again, I wouldn't have said that. Look, I had a lot riding on this. I'm not about to go to Peter if he sucks. So I called up my friend. I said, "Listen, ask your kid if he wants to, gather up some people. We're going to make a movie." And this thing is going to be entirely different. So I'll let Peter kind of take it from there, because I called Peter. I explained to him what was going on. I gave him the very realistic aspect that, look, this is a small budgeted horror film. The bottom has fallen out of the entire nation at this point. Can you find me some kids that can play these parts? I sent Peter the script. He read the script and he got back to me and he just simply said, I know of some people I can take this to. And my answer was, do it. And I'll let Peter take it from there.
All right, Peter, Snack. What's going on, man?
Yeah. So I got the call, obviously, and well, I was at the time I was just hanging out. I mean, this was at the beginning of the pandemic, so I didn't really have anything to do. Like, this was still when we didn't even have classes online. That's how early this was. And so I'm still, enjoying my, at the time I thought extended spring break. And I saw on the phone that I was getting a call from Harrison, and I was like, well, this is obviously movie stuff. So I got to answer it. And yeah, that's exactly what he said. Like, he said, I talked to your mom, and I have this script, and do you want to get a cat? And do you have a list of people that you think could do this? And I wasn't entirely sure, but I said yes, because that's what you have to do when anything like this happens to you.
He's learned well.
Yeah.
And so I read the script that night, and I loved it. And I instantly, I was trying to think of people. Emma on the call is actually, we are step siblings. And she kind of helped me figure out a bit of that, because she's also in our high school theater group. And so I, figured out a list, and I contacted people, and I asked them to audition. I sent them the sides that Harrison gave me. And we did our auditions, purely digital. It was very different than, I guess you would, say than you would normally audition for a movie, because it was all digital. And the meetings had to be done over, Zoom. And so in that aspect, it was very much different than, I guess, the normal filming experience. But we sent in auditions, we had notes, we took notes, we sent in more auditions, and we ended up here.
Yep.
Well, I want to talk. Let's actually go over to Emma real quick. Emma, I know that you didn't have a ton of screen time in this, but you do play a really critical role. And how did you channel that? Because I mean, obviously you were full of emotion most of your scenes. How do you channel that, and how do you relate to do those?
When I was really little, I was very socially anxious and didn't have any friends, and would have, like, people would go outside to recess and have fun. I would be in a corner either reading a book or that's kind of.
I think we have a bad connection there with you.
Emma, we can hear you.
Oh no.
That's okay. It's okay.
Okay.
But,
what?
So I heard that you go into the corner, you're reading a book, everybody else is doing their thing.
Yeah. When I was little, I just didn't know how people work.
Mm-hmm. Well, we know I'm older and I still don't know how people work. So, well, listen, Emma, I'll come back to you. Looks like you're having a little connection there. Um, I wanted to talk and you're getting, I guess, picked on in a sense. And Selena, your character here, you have a lot of anger. I want to get over to you, Selena. You have a lot of anger. You know what you want to do. You know how you want to handle and take care of business here. So, Selena, how did you get into character? I don't think we have Selena either.
Did we drop her?
Oh,
Did
Selena, there
Your
you are.
video is fine. It's just we can't hear you.
Mic isn't working.
Trying to adjust her.
How about now?
Oh, there you go. There you go. It happens.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
I would say like I give myself a few minutes on set to just put myself in the place of my character. Like I know that she's had past trauma, and a lot of us do have that because of, you know, it is that age where kids grow up hiding underneath their desks because of shooters, you know. It is that type of age, and it is that time. And I think growing up in that definitely gave me a lot of perspective and a good connection with my character. So I think that definitely did help.
Yeah, I felt like you were, I mean, you guys are all in the movie, you guys are all the same age, right? Essentially. But you seem to be a few years older than everybody. You were so mature and just so a leader, and you kind of directed traffic in a sense, and people were either with you or against you as far as the doctors go. So I thought that you played a really believable role. One of your counterparts there, Asher, I want to talk to you for a second, because as I'm watching Max's character, I felt like there was pressure from your parents. You have to tell lies in a sense to justify some of the things that happen in the movie, and you're kind of going with the flow. But I felt like you weren't always comfortable in your character. Not you, but Max's person. Like he wasn't comfortable with what was going on, and that's what I got. So how did you feel channeling that, and how did you get involved in the movie?
All right. Well, first of all, I want to make sure, can everybody hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, good. With all the mic problems, can never be too sure. But in terms of channeling Max, I always think it's important to draw from your own personal experiences whenever you're trying to portray a character. If you have an anxious character, pull from anxious memories or anxious feelings. If you have a happy character, obviously pull from happy memories, happy experiences. So that's what I wanted to do. And I actually haven't talked to too many people about this, but right around the time that we began filming, I was actually going through a lot of troubling experiences in my personal life that were giving me a lot of feelings of anxiety and loneliness, which was perfect for Max's character. So I figured, why not? Let's just method act through this whole thing. So that's how I decided I wanted to portray Max, just like feeding off of my recent experiences in my home life and my personal life. It was a little bit draining, but I wanted to do justice to the character.
Well, I thought you did, and I thought you struggled at some of the. I don't want to give too much away, but there were some murders. That's essentially, and you saw your character come out like, oh, this is really happening right now, and
like, oh, this got real. Okay,
yeah,
right.
exactly, right, yeah. It's like, oh God, I'm in the shit now. So another one of your friends here, I want to go to Riley. You play Mighty in the movie. You deal. I believe you're a diabetic in the movie.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, and you are you in real life or?
I am actually. I am diabetic.
Method actor.
It did a really convincing job because I caught. But no, you're obviously. I feel like Brand's character, he was picking on you a lot and whatnot. You kind of just going with the flow. Maybe you're that kid that not so much belonged in the group, but you were there. You know what I mean? They kept you around because you're funny and whatnot. But I thought you did a great job. Do you want to talk a little bit about your character and how you got involved in the film?
Yes. So Peter called me and got the same offer. And then I I was told about my character and I was like, oh, he's diabetic. Okay, well, I can work with that. Oh, he's this kind of, I got very like apathetic, like almost excluded, like kind of vibe from him. I like to describe Mighty as sort of a punching bag. Like he just kind of sits and he takes it. He takes the abuse just because he wants to feel included.
Right.
He wants to be part of the group, and they all pick on him. It's just yeah. He's very apathetic. He's written as the character that's too like in his own world to really care about anything that's going on.
Mm-hmm. I want to be
until it directly affects him, and then Mighty's like, oh shit,
yeah.
Which a lot of kids do.
I am going to be a dad for a second and tell you that right behind you by that window, you have a power strip with too many outlets in it. I don't want you to start a fire, so you better be careful, young man.
I did not set that up. That was not me.
Yeah. I'm just kidding. All right, so I want to get over to Scribble, Oliver, your character here, kind of the bad boy of the group, I guess. And I felt like you weren't taking any shit from anybody, and especially any of the teachers or whatnot. And you had dirt. I felt like you had dirt on everybody. Like, I'll mess you up if in a different way, if you mess with me. So Oliver, great performance. Talk a little bit about your character, Scribble.
So as you like in the movie, you don't see much about Scribble. You just kind of know he's there. You don't see family like you would anybody else. And so that plays a big part into his role. He's very just kind of mysterious and angry. And I think that that's what gives him that such a I'll mess you up kind of role. He obviously has some kind of issues, some home issues and mental issues. He's an angry person that knows everything about everyone. He has a power that's unspoken but still known, and that's why Ayla's character has such an attachment to him.
Yeah.
And so he has such an attachment to her because he gives him attention like nobody else ever has. And so, like, in the movie, you see that he just will mess anybody up. He is not ready to, he's always ready to fight back, and he's always prepared to just do what he has to do. So obviously there's some kind of home life issue, I'd say. Something's going on at home. You don't see his home life like you do everybody else's. You see him alone in the montage of everybody else's family. And so that obviously plays a big part. He feels excluded from everything else, so this group is all he has. So of course he's going to devote all of his time to that group, but also he wants to make it known that he is a powerful leader of that group.
Definitely a sergeant to Selena's character, like she was like the enforcer almost. And I mean, she's obviously had your attention in the movie, so I'm sure what you did, whatever she said, just like any other guy would do for a pretty girl. I want to ask Harrison one more question before I pass it over to Muse. Harrison, you have these young adults here and they're on set. How did you keep them in line? Because it seems like such a cool group of people. They're all friends. I'm sure they kind of did their own thing. And how did you carry a belt around all day or what? What's going on there?
Yeah, we beat the shit out of them. That's the best way to keep them in line. Just kick the shit out of one and the rest will fall in line, kind of thing. No, there was no keeping in line with them. They were all there. I feel at least they were all there for the same reason. These are kids that one moment were in their high school theater program, and then in the next moment they've been jumped to the front of the velvet line and are now coming out with their first film. So that's a pretty big leap. And most of all, I think I really feel bad. I felt badly while shooting for Asher and Selena as being seniors who lost so much at the end of their senior years. They lost their proms. They lost the ability to just simply graduate in person. There was a lot there, and everybody else as well lost something to this. So I'm not taking away from what everybody as a group sacrificed or lost or experienced during this. And I think during one of the things I spoke to them about, which I really was quite surprised. I forget which one of these, crazy little bastards here said it, but one of them said, I don't care, about losing graduation or whatever. I wouldn't have traded anything. I'm paraphrasing here, to do this film. So I think there was a conscious awareness among all of them that not only was there an opportunity here, but they wanted to give their best. Mm-hmm. So there really was no keeping in line. I mean, I think, look, it could have been easily another group of kids under different circumstances that maybe there would have been divas. I remember Tommy Lee Wallace telling me when he was shooting the original 1990 It for ABC, he said of all the stars, the kids were the worst on that set. They're fighting over who has a bigger trailer. They're screaming at each other. They're trying to sabotage one another. There was none of that on this. And I remember Tommy telling me the horror stories of working with the kids on it. And that did not happen with this. They were all professional. They were a lot of fun, great senses of humor. And most of all, were willing to do whatever needed to be done to make the best film possible under the circumstances we were in.
Well, there's a rumor. There's a rumor that you kicked somebody on the set. There's a rumor there. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, he kicked Riley like all the time. It was terrible. I was a bystander. It was horrible seeing it every day.
Yeah, everybody.
My ass is still sore.
Him around. It was kind of sad, actually. It was funny.
I mean, are you really going to bully the diabetic kid of all people? Come on. Like, that's not
shits on the diabetic.
Did you kick Riley? Did you kick him?
No, I never kicked him. But I'm going to tell you, if one of these little bastards said that, they're trying to deflect from their really creepy secret. And Ken, we're going to ask you and Muse this because they can ask you, but you know what they all do.
I have been asked this more than I've been asked my character motivations.
What is it?
Look at Oliver. He knows what's coming because they all do it. Oh, now suddenly they're all like, oh, they all piss in the shower.
Yeah, we do.
And the only reason why I know that is because they told me it during a lunch break, during a dinner break, and I don't do it. So you have to answer now. If you got
I got no shame in my game. It's all drains, man. I got good aim, so
yes.
One of us.
I got no shame, man.
No environment.
Muse, you're up. You're gonna take over anyway, Muse, and you can ask HorrO and Chris. But Muse,
do I pee in the shower? Is that what we're want to know?
Yeah.
I have. I'll admit it.
Yes.
I'll admit it. I'm not gonna hate.
Thank you.
I'm like Ken. There's no shame in my game.
Heck yeah.
I got good aim though, man. It's all drains.
But
it's all drains. They all go to the same place, so I'm good.
It's like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I swear.
Finding Nemo taught me that all drains lead to the ocean.
They do.
Another reason not to go in the ocean.
Well, I'm down here at the ocean.
Oh, I'm dying. Oh, the chat room is dying right now. I love it. All right, Muse, go ahead and take over.
Yeah, after revealing way too much about myself. I don't know how many people just probably turned me off, but all right. So I wanted to, this was such a fun movie to watch. You guys were fantastic. And I loved hearing about how you all got involved. So, I mean, it looked like you guys had so much fun doing this film. I mean, I could just definitely see it. And I wanted to ask you, I mean, and anybody can start, what were some of your favorite memories and, or were there any funny stories? I mean, we already heard one, but any your favorite memories?
I have one.
Okay.
And most of the cast knows this as Spike Night.
I was just gonna say this.
Yeah. Okay.
Riley. First of all, that is not my favorite memory. That is one of the worst on-set memories.
But it's a memory. It's
true.
Mind.
It is.
It's like an Inside Out when the core memories come down and they're sad. That's what that is.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Oh.
What's Spike Night, Riley? You tell it.
Okay, so spiking is when you look straight at the camera, which is something you're never supposed to do. You're never supposed to spike the camera. And one of the actors we were working with, his name was Quinn. We were shooting late one night and we were shooting this scene. I don't want to give too much away, but there was some physical activity involved in it. And Quinn spiked the camera a few times, to put it lightly, and we were there for a lot longer than we were supposed to. Harrison said Harrison said he thought I was going to kill him. Like
Yeah.
he thought I was going to kill Quinn.
And that was rare because you are probably one of the most mellow people that I know. And it was one of the few times while shooting where I saw you reaching your end.
Yeah, I've known Riley for quite some time, so I can kind of back this up. I mean, his whole family, like, they're all like very chill people, like him, his brother and his sister too. But I remember because the two of us, him and I specifically, like, we our mark was the same. Like, we were both running to the same spot, and I was kind of losing my cool. But I was like, if I make a show of it, you know, Riley's gonna be all like, I love Riley, but he's gonna be all like, no, it's okay. You know, there's peace and tranquility in what we're doing. But then I just turn around and Riley's like, I'm going to kill this damn kid. Like, he looked at me with like genuine, I think what I saw was rage. What I heard was, please stop me before I murder somebody.
It was a late night.
Very.
I would love to contribute a memory though as well. This was Selena and I. And we were filming a scene towards the end of the movie. And it was a pretty tiring night because we did some physical activity. But I think like that was the latest night for the both of us because I think we were there till like 4, I would say.
It was like around 4, yeah.
Yeah, 3 to 4. And first of all, I don't know if you guys, when you watch the movie, got to see the credits, but at the end of the credits, you see a thank you, and that lists like all of our parents. And that's because they were the real like superheroes of this, because they drove all of us like separately to this. Wonderful. Those of us that didn't, like, some of us didn't have our licenses, but some of us like me did, but you know, we're too young to be out past curfew. So I had to have my parents drive me. And so this night was till like 4 a.m. And I walk out and I saw my parents, you know, SUV. And I saw my stepdad, or well, Emma's dad as well, just, you know, taking a nice little nap in the car. And then I got a text from Selena because she drove herself. She almost fell asleep on the way home. And then the next night we also had a late night, all of us. And I feel like all of us saw our parents asleep then. Because I feel like it was a game at that point whose parents aren't going to be asleep.
Those are great stories. Did anybody else want to share a moment before I go on to the next question? These are great.
I've got one in mind.
Okay.
So because we were filming this during the whole COVID thing, no one really knew like what precautions to take on set. So one thing that we all decided to do was to do regular like hand sanitizer sweep. So like every like 30 minutes or every hour. Yeah, Riley knows where I'm going with this.
Yeah,
every like 30 minutes or an hour,
yeah.
we would have to have our producer Doug come around and give us like squirts of hand sanitizer just to be clean and everything. Now, one day, Doug wasn't able to do the sanitizing because he had to run off and do something. So he went to our mic guy, Christian. He was like, hey, do you think you can pass around the hand sanitizer for everybody? And he goes, yeah, I can do that. So basically, Christian became our new sanitizer guy. And after doing it so many times, I guess it kind of just got to his head because he started to make like a joke out of it. And he basically created this character called the Juice Papa. So every time that it would be like juice time, he'd go, okay, kids, it's time for your juice. Come get juice from Juice Papa.
Juice
and we'd all go,
Papa.
Juice Papa, please get the juice. We want the juice.
Juice Papa.
So
It was
Juice Papa.
creepy. It was creepy.
no, it
Oh
was
my
beautiful and
goodness, I love
elegant and
thought it was
exquisite in every way.
Well, and nothing really wrong with that. I don't see the issue with Juice Papa.
Ugh.
I love the voice. Juice Papa.
Juice,
Yeah,
get your
like,
juice,
This makes the whole
children.
thing.
I think the jerk guy going around asking people if they want his juice.
Still nothing wrong with that. I don't know. Oh,
I
think-
don't, nothing wrong with that.
I think
Bold
also,
from coming from someone who doesn't piss in the shower.
yeah.
That's right.
Right. All
I
right.
think
Sticking to
I think
it.
also one of my favorite memories was because just besides this movie in general, I'm a huge movie lover. Um, and so like anytime we weren't doing anything too busy, I think Harrison and I would be talking about movies a lot. I feel like a significant portion of the time, it would like Harrison and I would just be talking. Like one of us would be like, "Hey, ever seen this movie? Great film." And that was always so fun, especially on those like 3 a.m. nights when I was like tired.
Yeah, that was fun. I enjoyed that very much.
I know talking movies is definitely one of my favorite things to do as well. But I had a couple more questions before I pass it on to Chris, and I want to say hi, Chris. I know he got here. I'm so glad to see him. You guys talked about something called docking in the movie, and I found that very interesting. And I wanted to ask the cast and Harrison as well. Back from when he was in high school, did you guys experience kids that actually did that sort of thing, that had like dirt on people and like would use it, to I guess manipulate the situation or what have you? Did any
Sure.
of this ever actually
If I
occur?
can answer quickly, because I actually have to get going here, and I'm sorry about that. We didn't have anything like that at the time. There was nothing that existed, and the proper term is doxing, which
I'm sorry, doxing.
no, you're fine. You're right. The kids do a play on words on it, much like in the Goonies. If you remember, they messed up certain words, like instead of booby traps, it was Goonie traps. And I'm gonna commit Hare Krishna, and it's Harakiri, Mom. That's like a little inside joke, like a nod toward the Goonies.
Oh,
So,
I love it.
yeah, that's why they call it docking. It's really doxing. And that's why Max's father says you can't even say or spell it right, but for me, real quickly, we didn't have anything like that. These guys, this is the generation that grows up with doxing or docking.
All right, I was going to ask the cast, have you ever experienced anything like that in your high school experiences or anything like that?
Well, as a side note, to not even experiencing it, right away when we started the movie, Harrison told us to make sure our social medias are private, things like that, because of the fact that someone could dox us. If the wrong thing's posted, the wrong thing was said, we could get doxed immediately as soon as this movie comes out and someone finds something they don't like about us. Oh, I don't like that character, let's ruin their life. So that's something we have to worry about on our everyday to day basis in general. And I know like it has happened to many famous people, many famous movie actors who have just gotten completely ruined because of something they said years ago. So it's something everybody, even if you're not famous, has to constantly worry about. It's something that happens at every school, every place. If someone says the wrong thing on TikTok, even, you'll see in the comments that people will email their schools or the colleges that they are going to just to make sure that they don't get into that. It's something that is completely prevalent and something that is being used against everybody, and you see everywhere nowadays.
That is so true. Absolutely.
I think we'd all like to say, like individually, that we haven't experienced much of that kind of stuff or drama in general. But I think we also have to point out that we've all been through high school theater. And so I think a lot of us have experienced a lot of drama. Me particularly, I can't give you like, any citations for a specific moment. But I just know in general, anytime a cast list is put out, you have 5,000 people texting you, people who are happy, people who aren't. And well, I know specifically, I call myself, for a lot of people, the therapist friend. So I've had a lot of people complain to me about like, I don't think this person should have gotten that part. I don't think they did well at all. And, I try to stay out of that and just be like, okay, well, that's your feelings. And, you can feel completely valid. I try not to give an opinion on that because I don't want to be a part of it. I don't want to stir that, pot. But I feel like everyone here has gotten that text where it's someone who's like, I don't think this person deserves that part at all. I see Riley nodding because him and I talked about that last year for musical, but there's a lot of that, that we've all experienced where it's just a lot of people talking a bunch of smack.
Yeah, definitely. Social media can be an absolute war zone at times. There is no doubt about that. And just being young, I remember being in high school and I really identified with each one of your characters at some point. And I love that. And I remember Jenny's character, and I suffer from anxiety myself, so I definitely vibed with her as well. And all you really want to do is fit in high school. And, you know, you don't want to stand out. And, you know, sometimes if you have anxiety, you do stand out, and it just makes you kind of stick out like a sore thumb. So I definitely, like I said, at some point I vibed with every character, and I thought you guys all did a great job. I know Harrison's got to leave, so I don't want Chris to not get in a question. So I want to pass it to him. I don't want to take up any more time,
Right.
but I love
I'm sorry, but yeah, no, please go ahead, Chris.
Hey, it is a pleasure to finally get to see you face to face. I know we've spoken and texted. I want to give you an opportunity to go on about somebody who I know you want to go on about. This movie had its budget cut. The effects might have suffered because of it. Creature effects might have suffered because of it, and certainly a lot of the stuff that goes into making a movie was either halved or definitely cut. Matt Neese comes through for you, though. You've mentioned a lot about you need a cinematographer to make you look good. And when your budget gets really cut in a film that's being shot in the dark, where the creature is a dark guy, you could have gone the easy route, what a lot of people do. Hey, just make it dark so you can't see a whole lot of stuff. That didn't happen here, and I'm guessing Matt Neese with his cinematography was one of the reasons.
Absolutely. You know, we could not play peekaboo with the monster, and audiences have become too sophisticated with that. And so that people know right away now if you're hiding your monster, if it's always in the shadows. And we've seen plenty of monster movies, and Chris, I know you definitely have, where they just play peekaboo with it. So with Matt was able to, you know, again, it's that gift of a cinematographer. Everybody gives credit to the director. The two most important people in conjunction with the director, and in my opinion, in some cases more important, are the DP and the editors. Because you know, Spielberg gets all the credit for Jaws, but it was Verna Fields who saved Jaws. It truly was. She was the editor of Jaws. So for this, you need a great DP, and a DP that understands lighting and knows what needs to be done, how to frame a shot, and that most of all, as a director, you can look to your DP and say, I want to get this, but I know we don't have 5 hours to get this shot. What can we do? And that's production shorthand. And when you have a DP that goes, and Matt, the kids will tell you about Matt. Matt is just like, well, let's try that. You know, that's how Matt is. And Matt will tell you then also, no, I don't think we're going to get that. And I don't think we should spend 3 hours trying to get that when we won't get what you want. Because that's where a director has to lean on their DP. Look, when Harold Ramis started Caddyshack, he didn't know what the hell to do. It was his DP that said, Harold, aim the camera that way. You want things going that way. And you know, directors with an ego will go, well, who the fuck are you? I'm the director. Well, yeah, dumbass, you're supposed to listen to your whole crew as well too. And a good DP knows how to do that. I've been friends a long time with Dean Cundy. And it was Dean that, I mean, look, growing up, reading Fangoria, reading all these magazines, when there was no internet, you learned from George Romero, John Carpenter, and, you know, Alan Ormsby, and all these folks, Larry Cohen, that you have to have a great DP. That's it. And then it's in the edit. The movie lives and dies in the edit. So, yeah, Matt Neese, I'm always, you know, giving a lion's share of the credit to, because he deserves it. You know, he's fantastic.
You know, there's a dynamic we're all keying in on this. A grouchy guy that doesn't pee in the shower, and there are a bunch of cool kids that do pee in the shower. But there's another dynamic which we haven't touched on yet. We got this monster, and then we got the real monsters, and you're all sitting here right now. Sorry, but you know. But there's a third monster, the most vicious monster of all, and that is the guy who's not here, Quinn. And if you look at all your characters, the one you've got to be most horrified at is the guy you see on the screen and think, oh, that's Elliot from E.T. And then you realize it's not Elliot from E.T. It's far from Elliot from E.T. This guy, you just try to imagine what he's going to be like when he's 18 or 19.
Yes.
And the answer is not good. But as far as you guys go, 17, 18 years old, and then you got this little squirt on the set too. Did you guys get along with it? Were you corruptors? Were you sort of bringing him along, or did you feel you had a responsibility to act professional or was he indeed many years beyond his years? I'm just curious. I know you guys are young kids, but I'm thinking Quinn's got to be quite a bit younger than you guys. It'd almost be like not only do you need to give him a ride to places, but you got to make sure he gets a nap in and his little goldfish and juice box at a certain time.
He wasn't that little.
Oh, okay.
And hot Cheetos.
Don't give him chips.
Oh, okay. Those are good. Even healthier. Yeah. So
Do not give him
do not
give him
give
spicy
him
food.
hot.
Do not
it's like
give him
gremlins.
spicy
Don't feed
food.
him after dark or whatever. Yeah.
It was like that, don't give him hot, don't give him spicy food. We learned that the hard way.
Right. You guys were scary. The fact that you guys are probably typical is even scarier. This is like River's Edge, and I don't know if you've seen the movie times 30. And Selena, you have an unusual role for a 17 or 18-year-old gal. I've got a daughter who's 22. You also, in addition to playing a 17-year-old, you're a vixen. I don't want to call you a succubus, but you have a great deal of power and influence over these other hormonal teenagers. And you, if anything, we look on the screen, we see you, and did you have a sense of the gravity of your character and the power you had over everybody else? You pulled it off wonderfully. And I don't know if that's a question of Harrison leading you through it, or do you sort of have this down anyway?
Well, I would say that Harrison definitely did help guide me through. I mean, like he did with all of us, just, the character dynamics and just dive in a little bit deeper to like each character. But
yeah,
no, the character definitely is aware of her effect on other people. And she uses that. She definitely uses that for her benefit, and she knows it.
Yeah.
And I was aware of that. And I thought it was definitely interesting. Yeah. Now, as playing as like a 17-year-old, it is a little bit young to think of somebody that way, but she thought of herself that way because of society. Right. And I think that brings a lot into the movie.
Right. I know I don't think Omar has gone yet, and I hate to pass it on over to him because I have 1,000 more questions. But at the end, when Ken asks you where you can be found and all that stuff, he's going to ask you to say a little goodbye. I'd be curious to know if any of you guys are going to college and majoring in theater. And I know a number of you have other movies coming up that you'll be working on. So as a pleasure. Just an administrative question, and you don't have to answer it now, Harrison. I got a review all ready to go on this movie. Just let me know when you want me to post it.
Oh, absolutely. And does Omar have a question of me? Because I'm going to head out if not, and leave it to the kids, and not, I hate to say kids, leave it to the dockers to handle this, because I really want them to get as much exposure. I'm so proud of these guys for what they did in this movie, and I think it's going to send a very strong message to the horror community.
I do. I have two quick questions. Maybe you can answer them just real quick, and then I'll move on to the group here.
Sure.
One is you're obviously well versed in film and so forth, in the 80s especially. Did you have any specific movies in mind of 80s youth groups that you kind of wanted to go opposite of in this movie? And the second question is, I don't know if you want to give it away too much, but the location is pretty unique and fun. How'd you make the best use of that as well?
Oh, two great questions, and thank you. Number one, in writing this, aside from the Slender Man slayings, the stabbings, the big thing was in the 80s, you always had that run of movies starting, not just with E.T., but you had The Sandlot, and kids find something, right? It's always the nice kids find something. They find the alien, they find the monster, they find Sloth. They find all these things. And one of the questions I posed is what if we turn that completely on its ear? And what if it was like the Columbine kids who found the monster? You know, what if it was the assholes that found the monster? And instead of the nice kids. And that's what really emerges here, you know, that this monster comes into the hands of some kids who are already monsters. So that's pretty scary. In addition to that, the place that we shot was a place called Field of Screams. And to utilize it the best that we could was just, that's part of Matt Neese's job, who made it look beautiful. The place is a fantastic real life Halloween haunt. You can go to fieldofscreams.com and see it for yourself. But we turned it into a living, breathing set that became almost like this Tim Burton-like playground for these kids. I mean, it's the coolest place on earth for a bunch of teenagers to hang out, right? When it's closed for the off season, that's why even Selena's character says she needs that place. Like, for a moment, you think she actually has a moment of humanity when she's like, we can't let this thing kill people when the place opens. But it's not because of out of concern for anybody. It's because, well, then they'll shut the place down and I have nowhere to go. So it shows how everything just comes back to her. And, but the place itself was just phenomenal to use. I mean, the production value, the lighting, everything, it just gave us so much and set the really fantastic tone for the theme and feel of the picture.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Harrison. So if you have to go, you know, I thank you for the time and including us in everything.
Are you kidding? Ken, thank you. Muse, thank you. Chris, thank you. Ask these kids anything. You know, again, I hate using the word kids, but ask them. They were wonderful to work with. And you've seen the movie, so you've you know, the proof is in the pudding right there. You know, you've seen this movie. I'm very excited about the waves it'll make, and I'm very, very proud of this motion picture.
Harrison, thank you so much for hanging out, man. I appreciate you. Take care, brother.
All right, and all of the doctors, take care and have fun with them, Ken. They're a great group.
All right, guys. Thanks, Harrison, again. And so I guess I'm going to jump to you guys. And first and foremost, I listened to Harrison's podcast with you guys. So I thank you for your environmentalism there, peeing in the shower. Yes, I do as well. And if he could, he would. And also, I don't know which one of you mentioned it, but you mentioned it. I think Harrison posed the question to like worst movies or something like that. And one of you mentioned Twilight. So I thank whoever that was for that as well, because it's long known that I hate that as well. So thank you for those two things. Oliver, it looks like it was you, so thank you very much. Anyway, so to the questions. I just mentioned 80s horror to Harrison there. I kind of wanted to know if you guys have seen a lot of 80s horror or some of the, with specifically these youth groups. And did you guys kind of compare yourself to any of them going into this movie? And anybody can answer.
Going into the movie, oh, I'm sorry, you can go, Peter.
With 80s horror, I mean, I've seen a lot of horror specifically. I'm a huge horror fan. And I like to draw. I mentioned that Harrison and I like to talk about movies a lot, so we both kind of like to draw a lot from that. It's not a horror movie, but the one I always point to is there's that shot of Snack. I'm not going to spoil it too much, but rising up, you know, into the camera view, and we called that for the entire production the Apocalypse Now shot. And so I like to let a lot of the influences I had from film inspire like how I performed. But I also think that's what Harrison kind of did when he wrote the film. So I think a lot of the inspirations were more of just ours to, not that we didn't have any creative freedom, but I think a lot of the inspirations we had were given to us and were ours to interpret.
Growing up, I watched The Goonies a lot. And so right away, we jumped into it. We were told we were the bad Goonies. So that was an immediate comparison for us. Like right in the movie, when you first see the movie, we're goofy. We're kind of like the Goonies. And then, whoa, we're not. But, I mean, honestly, I'd like to give a lot of credit to Peter. Peter is the movie buff of the group. you can ask him pretty much whenever any movie was made, and he will know exactly what year it is. We did it for about 2 hours the one day on set. It was insane.
Became like
we're
a
gonna put that
sort of
we're,
game
we're gonna put that
almost.
we're gonna put that to the test in a minute here.
I can't guarantee I can't guarantee everything, but my rule is that if you give me a movie I've heard about, I can either give you the year it's released or a fact about it. It doesn't always work. I've been stumped multiple times, but I am pretty good at it.
But so with that being said, Peter just really took on a big leadership role. He made sure we were all in check. He put me in check a couple times. I like to run my mouth a lot. I just talk a lot. So he was always there to just kind of slap me on the back of the head and tell me to shut up.
I think the main thing I did, if I'm gonna give myself credit for anything, I think I gave you all like a movie clip at least to watch to inspire a performance. Like I looked at the script sometimes and I'd be like, watch this. Like there's not gonna spoil too much, but there's a scene where Selena's on the phone and literally Selena took me home one day and I was like, you need to watch Get Out. And you need to watch, there's this clip where a character's on the phone and you need to do like exactly that. So like I think I did that for everyone, that I gave them like a movie or like something to draw off of at least once. It wasn't something I constantly did. Like I'm not going to take credit for every single, decision anyone made, but I think at least once I mentioned a movie for everyone, including myself. I think the funniest thing is I saw Snack as kind of the Matt Hooper from Jaws of the group. So that's what I did for that. Because there's that the feeling of like he's smart, but he's also like these idiots are gonna die. So I think that Oliver has a point there, but I also want to say that it wasn't. I wouldn't call it leadership. I would just call it, I love movies too much to shut up about it. So I would just constantly be talking about them.
Speaking of movie clips, like the dance scene, I'm not going to say anything else about it, but the dance scene, you guys know what I'm talking about. Harrison sent us, Selena and I, a clip from the Addams Family and said, look at her the way Gomez looks at Morticia. And so throughout the movie, like Peter, Harrison, even Asher and Selena have shared movie clips with the group with individual people, and so we kind of built our characters off of everything that we knew from other movies. It was just entirely, how can I radiate a certain character but also make it my own in the same sense?
Wait, Oliver.
Yeah,
you're telling me that dance scene you weren't radiating Patrick Swayze from Dirty Dancing? That's
I always radiate Patrick Swayze from Dirty Dancing.
That's his go-to move there. I mean, come on. So for maybe some of the others that didn't answer that question, how about the other end of it? Once this movie gets released, fans are going to get to see it and compare you to some of those groups, obviously. And obviously your group is very different, as we've talked about. What are your kind of expectations from that, or what fans will see in your comparisons to maybe other movies and your place in it?
I think the main piece of media that people are going to relate this to is probably Stranger Things, just because that's kind of the phenomenon right now. Whenever I have to describe this movie to people, I always explain it. It's like Stranger Things, but the kids are the bad guys. That's always what I say. So I feel like people are going to look at this, and of course there's going to be haters, and they're going to go, oh, this is just a ripoff of Stranger Things. But it's definitely not. It's very much its own thing. It has a completely different message. The only similarity is there's a group of kids and it relates to a monster. That's about it. So I feel like there's going to be a large comparison there, but I hope people are going to have the appreciation to understand that they're two completely separate entities.
I agree with the comparison to Stranger Things, and Harrison even told us that, like, as we were learning our parts, he was like, you guys will be compared to the Stranger Things kids just because of the nature of the world and how big that show got. And that's just something you're going to have to prepare for.
I'd say it's definitely scary with, the release coming up at some point, with the release coming up and just never being in a movie before and never having that release. and never having it on, an accessible platform. I'm not sure how much I'm allowed to say, but yeah, I'd definitely say that it's interesting locking down our accounts and just paying attention to what you post on social media and stuff like that. It's a different world than it was 40 years ago. But I definitely say that it's a little nerve-wracking.
I think one thing that I'm nervous for, and I think Selena has also expressed nerves in this, so if she wants to pitch in, because this is more her, not that she's more scared than me, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying when we've talked about it, she's more in risk of this too, than I am, which is being seen as our characters. I really don't want that. And I Snack kind of serves as a bit of a moral compass, but I still like, whenever you do a show or a movie, your goal is to disappear enough that even the closest people to you can only see the character. But that can get scary, when there's people that don't know you, and so all they know you by is this character. There's gonna be people that are gonna see this movie and their only interpretation of Selena, no offense Selena, is gonna be that she's a jerk. And so I think that's one thing that we've all expressed our not a concern, but just like, this is something we're gonna have to look at, obviously.
I completely agree. That's been one of the biggest worries, especially like Peter said, his character as well. But for Selena, Asher, and I, to be quite blunt, the three of us are dicks. Like, we're horrible in the movie. We're horrible people. And I know every single one of the people in this movie. I've pretty much, all the people that I've worked with, the people that we acted with, we've all known each other since what, 6th, 7th, 8th grade even. Peter came to school when I was in 9th grade. He's been one of my closest friends since then. We're not bad people. Like, we all know each other. We all know that we're not horrible people. But the question is, who else will know that? And that's, like Peter said, that's probably the biggest worry of ours, is not even being compared to other movie stars, but being compared to our true selves.
Riley,
Something
did
I
you
do
want?
like, yeah, something I do like to think about that. Like, so Oliver, you bring up a good point, but I have to say that, I mean, you just take that as a sign of really great acting, to be seen as this character and to have done such a good job that people, so we'll use Selena as an example. It's just to have someone come up to you and say, I hate you, can in a weird way be taken as a compliment, as like a thank you. I know that I played my character very well.
I do agree with that.
I think it's a comparative business in general, especially for an actor. There's always, actors are always influenced by performances prior to theirs, and I understand it. But I also think there's a lot of times when someone will watch a movie and they'll be like, "That's a great performance. I got a lot of this from that. This is what, like, this performance prior I saw." I guess if you want to, Selena can be the Nurse Ratched of this. But I feel like that was one of the best things, because I've had some. We were able to show the movie to some family of ours, and I think that was the greatest thing, is having these people that know you still say, like, you disappeared into that. It made me think of this, and obviously that means a lot more to me. When I care so much about movies, that, like, someone saying the movie I was in is associated with any other movie is like, oh my gosh. But I think that we want to be seen as our characters in a comparative way, I guess I would say, in a way of, like, this is how great your performance was, but not in a way of that this is actually so, like, at the end of the day, we want people to know that we don't, like, we don't do this.
Well, I'll just jump in and say that, like Selena, for your case, I mean, you couldn't seem any nicer. And obviously you're very opposite of that in the movie, which, to me, on the other hand, is a tribute to your acting. Now getting to see how nice you are and then how you are in the movie, I mean, it just ups the performance. So, hopefully for at least those that know you can at least take credit for that. And I wouldn't worry too much. I mean, you guys will be fine at the end of the day. Once you move on, college, next roles you take, it'll be all good. I know Ken wants to move on, but I have to ask one quick question, because it kind of might lead into what we're doing next. You guys face a scary creature here. I want to know kind of your reactions the first time Harrison kind of showed you what you were going to be facing, or the first time you were on set and you faced the creature?
I remember a very specific reaction, and that was Asher's reaction, because Harrison sent us a creepypasta of the Russian sleep experiment, and Asher was like, "No, I cannot."
I swear I nearly had a panic attack because I never talk about this because it still kind of freaks me out to this day, but like the image from that specific creepypasta giving me extreme night terrors and extreme anxiety attacks. So I remember when Harrison posted in our Skype group chat, like, "Hey guys, this is what the inspiration of the monster was." And I just had like a gut feeling, like, I feel like I might know what this is. And when I asked everybody, like, "Can you guys make sure it's not this?" And they go, "Oh no, it is that," I nearly had a panic attack because that thing freaks me out so much. But thankfully, by the time the costume was finished, the creature didn't really resemble that creature too much. So I felt more relieved and I felt more comfortable. But I definitely use those feelings to increase my performance because, I mean, to this day, it freaks me out a lot.
I think also, and Emma and I think Selena can weigh in on this more, so I would love for them to. Steve Haymeyer, the man in the suit himself, was a big driving force on how we reacted to the monster. There was, I don't think this is giving too much away. There was a scene where I was basically, I'm close to the monster, and so I am supposed to look scared like anyone would when close to a monster. And I'll admit we did the takes, and like Harrison was just like, "Hey, I'm not getting anything. Like it's really flat." And I was like, "I'm really trying, you know," but like I had already met Steve, so it was a bit hard on that. And you know, I wasn't too, not that the monster didn't look scary, but I just wasn't too intimidated by it. And I also, you know, there's the comfort in knowing that Steve, this guy I know, whose name's Steve, is in this costume. And so all of a sudden, to get this reaction out of me, Steve like whispers in my ear, and I don't think I would be okay with anyone ever whispering this in my ear besides that moment. But he says to me, "I am real, and I can, and I will kill you." Like it was something like that. And then right away the camera rolled, like right after he said that, and that's the take you see in the movie. But I think Emma can weigh in on that because I think she had her own experiences, and Selena too.
Yeah, Steve, for one thing, is extremely tall, and I am not. So that is just automatically intimidating. But he would do this thing to get into character where he would just ramble about different foods for a while, like talk about Big Macs, Whoppers, other foods. And he's like, "I need to feel hungry to get in character because my drive as a character is to eat people, and I can't do that if I'm not hungry." So he was just being like naming foods left and right and trying to envision people as food, and it was just intimidating and mildly concerning, but it worked in the end.
I think the most concerning was how specific he got with it. I will not name at all which scene this was, but he called someone a sirloin steak and then said, "No, that's too flashy right now. I'm in the mood for something else."
Steve,
and that was creepy.
Steve was a great actor. Oh, I'm sorry, Riley.
Yeah. I just want to, something else that Steve did, and this was great. It was really hard to do this, but I think it made the shots better. When he had to shoot some of the tougher scenes, he told us, "Guys, I'm not going to talk to you tomorrow, or I'm not going to talk to you this day. And I want you guys to treat me like shit. I want you to like be mean to me so that I can hate you, like hate your character." And it was hard because Steve's great. Everybody loves Steve. He's the guy in the suit. But just getting into the character of just, well, I'm not Riley. I'm Mighty, and I'm freaked out by this thing, and I've never seen this before, and this could kill me. So I just kind of silently observe in the back.
I think one of the hardest parts about that, and I know Selena went through it too, is before we shot some of the tougher scenes where we had to hate Steve and Steve had to hate us, he told us just to be mean to him. And we were relentless. I know Selena and I both felt horrible about ourselves coming out of that situation because we felt like Steve almost cried, or he was going to cry, or he did. And it was we just had to attack him for everything we could go at, and doing that was very difficult, but I have a lot of respect for Steve as an actor for that. I mean, like in the days that Riley said he wouldn't talk to us, sometimes I'd forget and I'd walk up to him and be like, Steve, like that was great. And he'd just grunt at me and I'd be like, right. Because like Emma said, he's very tall and very intimidating. I mean, Mance has a bull ring in his nose for a septum piercing. He was horrifying when we first met him because he is a man who is much larger than us and he played a great monster, but overall was a great guy. So what he did to separate us from the monster and to separate himself from the monster is something that was very admirable and respectable and really got us and himself in the zone to see a real monster.
I think also with this group of actors, I'll pat us all on the back for one thing, is we're very committed to getting into character. None of us I would consider method actors. Maybe Riley with his diabetes, but I think overall, this is a very committed group. But there was also a bit of psychosis with that. I guess that's the right word. I don't know. AP Psych kids can yell at me. But there was a bit of psychosis with that because we started to feel like our characters. Not like we started to like get these insane thoughts of, burnt, like just, being horrible kids. But we started to feel like we were doing these actions and we felt responsible for them. I remember Selena one time was like, I'm just so tired of like feeling like a horrible person. And I felt so bad because I get it.
Awesome. But Selena, did you want to go real quick? Because I know Ken wants to ask you a couple more things.
Oh, I mean, go ahead. You guys can ask your questions.
All right, Ken, I'm throwing it back to you. Thank you, guys.
Actually, we actually got to wrap it up. We're running out of time here. But I just once again can't thank you guys enough for coming on the show tonight. I think people are going to love this movie. I know you guys mentioned a couple things with Goonies and the Stranger Things, and I think when you get a young cast and audience, a young horror film with a lot of young cast members, people relate to that, because if you look at like Monster Squad or The Gate or Silver Bullet, all of these movies that had young characters in it, they're more vulnerable. But you guys were not vulnerable at all, and I really dug it. I thought it was a really good movie. It was dark, it was gory, it had the amazing practical effects, which is something that we love. No CGI. And just a character development throughout the movie. So thank you so much, cast members. I appreciate each one of you for coming on the show, and we look forward to seeing your careers just become what it's going to become. Thank you so much. Keep it scary, my friends.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
so much
much.
for this.
It's
Yeah,
been a
great.
pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Bye, guys. Thank you. Take care. Have a good night.
Thank you so
Guys.
much.
Again,
you.
thank
You
you
too.
very much.
Thank
It's been a
you.
pleasure.
Our pleasure.
Take care, Riley. Bye. All right. We are going to jump right into the next one. Everybody's ready. I think Peter might still be in the room here.
Good. Yeah, he's welcome to join us. He's infinitely more interested than I am.
I think he was
he'd be-
having technical difficulties and reconnected like on another.
Your face is technical difficulty.
Shut up.
Ooh.
Hey.
Hold on a second.
We're both shower peers now, so now I feel like we're on level ground.
Yeah, just think about the next time you eat at Red Lobster.
Oh yeah, I don't. You know what? I was just talking about Red Lobster the other day, so
Oh, it's
I
great
don't want
food.
to hear this story.
Yeah.
All right. Hold on a second. I'm gonna have to practice this. All right, fuck it. All right, I'm not gonna deal with that right now. We're gonna get into it. Let's go. Oh, here comes Casey. Yes.
Hey!
Yay! There she is.
Hey!
Casey.
Okay, hold on. Wait till she gets
Hey, how
on.
you guys doing?
Hey,
Hey,
Casey!
there's one of my favorite ladies in the world.
Hi, how are you? Casey, can you hear me? Hello? Hello?
No.
Oh, Warren, you can hear me, right? All right, let's go.
Apparently.
She's like, I'm ignoring him.
Oh God.
The shower peeing thing now.
Oh my
It's like
God.
too much information, man.
I hate you
Hey,
guys.
Chris
All
and
right.
Casey have to answer that question when we return.
I'm gonna ask them. I'm gonna ask
I
them.
don't think they answered that.
They didn't. I'm gonna ask you. All right, hold on one second, guys. We're gonna go. Good evening, listeners. Welcome to Where the Scary Things Are. I'm your host, MonsterMash Ken, and with me is my co-host, the Mistress of Darkness, the Queen of Fright, the Lady of the Night, Muse. How you doing tonight, lady?
I'm doing great. It's the 100th episode. I'm geeked. I've had way too much Mountain Dew, and I'm ready to get spooky and get scary.
I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew.
That's me. All right.
All right. Chris, the creature Zisi. Hope you're not sleeping on the couch tonight, my friend.
No, the wife is home, but her body clock has her an hour ago because she was in Kansas. So I'm pretty good. I had coffee tonight. I got Mountain Dew Zero. Oh, I got to tell you, however good it is, doesn't beat Mountain Dew. And the real Mountain Dew. And I am so happy to be here at number 100. I've never been in a place longer other than the public school system than I have on this podcast.
All right, on. Well, it's always a pleasure to talk to you each and every Tuesday night. Chris and Dex, I'm sorry, Chris, HorrO and Dexter, how are you guys doing tonight?
Chris and Dex, we'll have to arrange that one day.
I know, right?
for number 200, maybe. Yeah, we're doing good. And again, we took a break from our Sharks and watching Shark Week to join everybody here. We're happy to be here. Happy to finally let the monster out of the bag and move on here with our little secret.
That's right. But before we get to that, we also have our returning co-host, Hiller Casey, my friend. How are you? I miss your face. I miss your laugh. I miss your voice. How are you, lady?
Hey, it's been a minute. My God, did you have some work done? Your face looks great.
It's the touch up HD camera. Like
Oh,
it
I
touches up
see.
your
Yeah.
appearance.
You're
Yeah.
shiny. You're glowing.
Yeah. Am
I love it. It's
Hair's a
great to
little
be
bit
here. I
longer.
missed you
Yeah.
guys. This is fantastic.
Yeah. Oh man, we missed you a lot. So we wanted, to have you on our 100th episode. I can't believe it's number 100. We spoke about it a little bit earlier with our interview. If you caught that interview, you know our big secret. So here it is. Where the Scary Things Are. Our podcast is now the title of a Harrison Smith movie. This movie will be released hopefully in the fall. We have all watched it. This movie is awesome. If you like the Goonies, if you like Monster Squad, a little bit more hardcore, it's Stranger Things. This movie is great. This is bloody. It's got a great special effects, a killer monster in it. Definitely watch this movie, and we make an appearance in the movie as podcasters, which is awesome because we are now accredited in the movie, which is really cool. So that's really exciting. It's something that we've been holding the lock and key to for a long time, and we are really excited. And you know what? I just, before we get into our little segments and stuff, I just wanted to say there are a lot of podcasts out there. There's a lot, and you can pick your poison. We are in the horror community. There's so many different horror podcasts that you can listen to. We have a good, solid crew of listeners, and we like to call them the unusual suspects. And I just want to say thank you to those people that hang out with us every single Tuesday, and then they listen to the show during the week. And I'll go and individually shout them out in a minute here. But anybody could listen or watch this channel, or any other horror channel or podcast, but I can't tell you, I never thought that our show would grow as it did. We've had some interesting interviews. We've had some wonderful interviews. We've watched so many cool movies. We've had so many amazing guests, topics that we've gotten deep into conversations. We've made people cry, Muse. We've talked about cats humping each other in the background, Muse. We've had skeletons in the background, HorrO. We've had, just all these different things happen on our show. And I just never thought that we would be this successful in this podcast, and as we always talk about, we look forward to it every Tuesday night, and we try to be here. We don't get paid. We don't get any royalties or anything like that. This is all based on our free time. Everything is out of pocket. We never ask anything from our listeners. We have a lot of contributors, a lot of support, a lot of people that retweet or share our show. We get help from people like Harrison Smith. Behind the scenes, we're part of a really great podcast network, the Strange Society Network. You should listen to those shows on there. Harrison's show's on there. It's a wonderful show. And we're just part of this really cool community. And none of that would be possible if we didn't have the listeners that we do. So it's just on behalf of Where the Scary Things Are, we are also thankful for each and every single one of you guys and women. And the cherry on top is that we are now in a movie, so that's cool. So hopefully this kind of gives us a little bit more traction. Share the show, talk about the show, get people to listen to the show, join the chat room if you're listening on the podcast throughout the week. Every Tuesday night we are here in the YouTube chat room, and it is fire, and you can become an unusual suspect. So that being said, we will have the cast of Where the Scary Things Are with B. Harrison Smith, the director, as our special guest. We'll talk a lot about the movie. It's a really nice interview. If you didn't catch it on the YouTube channel, check it out. It's really cool. Yeah, so let's get into our show. I'm going to kick it off with my Fear the Beer of the Week. This is a really nice looking beer here. I have not had this yet. This is called an Elysian Contact Hazy IPA. I love that sound. Cheers to you guys. Cheers to number 100 and to 100 more. Oh, yeah, that is very tasty, very crisp, very good summer beer. All right, so I wanted to talk about with my segment something that Harrison kind of spoke about, and it's really scary. It's really scary stuff. So Where the Scary Things Are movie kind of got into, I guess it came from a real life story, the Slender Man. And I don't know if anybody knows about this story, so I'm just going to kind of go through it real quick. It's really freaky stuff. But on May 31st, 2014, in Wisconsin, two 12-year-old girls, Anissa and Morgan, lured their best friend Peyton into the woods and stabbed her 19 times in an attempt to become proxies for the fictional character Slender Man. The victim crawled to a road where she was found and recovered after 6 days in a hospital. The perpetrators were found not guilty by mental disease or defect and committed to mental health institutions for sentences of 25 and 40 years, respectively. That is some scary stuff because there's a lot of weird stuff on the internet. And, this is the segment, The Black Hole of the Internet. And, the Slender Man was something that was created on the internet. It was a fictional character somebody made online, and it's weird in itself the way it looks. But people believe stuff, don't believe what you read on the internet. Be a better parent, watch what your kids are doing on the internet, watch horror movies with them, let them know that it's fake, because I grew up watching horror movies. I know what's real, what's not. So it's scary that this happened to this young lady from her own friends. Then I just couldn't imagine being a parent, in that situation. So there were some other crazy urban legends, if you will, like, do rats crawl up the pipes, and do you find them in your toilet? Do alligators crawl around in the sewers? You be the judge. I don't know, but there have been things that have happened where people find rats in their toilets. What's another one here? Candyman. Or Candyman or Bloody Mary. I personally have not tried it yet because I don't want to be wrong. I don't think it's real, but you never know. You never know what's going to happen. I just don't need another bloody character in my life trying to kill me. I deal with that enough. Cropsey was another one. This was based in Long Island or Staten Island. I can't remember, but this guy was hiding in bushes and in the woods and would kidnap kids as they camped. That's another urban legend. All kinds of weird stuff. I don't know, but you should take a look. So many great urban legends out there, and you decide what's real and what's not. But the Slender Man was obviously something that wasn't an urban legend, but somebody made it up online and somebody took it too far, way too far. But at expense of this, we got this movie, Where the Scary Things Are. Anyway, I am going to throw it on over to Muse with her Sinister Six.
So as usual, Ken and I are sharing the same brain. We're kind of like on the same page here. So I thought it would be really interesting to run down some of my favorite cryptid horrors. Things like Bigfoot, Loch Ness, all those kind. It's like a really popular phenomenon. There's so many great movies out there. So I was going to run down, and some of them are found footage because it's me, but so bear with me if you hate found footage. But there are some really great ones out there. There's something for everybody for sure. The first one, of course, deals with the mythology behind Bigfoot, and it's called Exists. And let me just run down what this is about really quick. So I believe this is found footage. I watched this a few years ago. It centers on 5 friends. They travel to a remote cabin in the woods, and they plan to record their entire weekend. The plans are quickly ruined when they realize the property is in the middle of Bigfoot's territory, and it's not happy to have trespassers. So another reason why screw camping, the woods and cabins and all that stuff, nothing good ever comes of this stuff. I mean, we're talking Evil Dead, we got Necronomicons, we got Bigfoot. No, I'm not doing it. So this is just one of those movies that really, really freaks you out. If you go camping, I think this is a movie you're going to probably think back on, maybe that you shouldn't have watched it before you went out there in the middle of the woods. But very fantastic movie. Came out in 2014. I highly recommend it. The second one is the Mothman Prophecies. Now, I have family from West Virginia, and I have an uncle-in-law named Mitchell. And so I'm gonna shout him out right now, but he swears the Mothman is real. The locals talk about, he lives way up in the mountains too. And swears that the Mothman is real. There've been tons of sightings and stuff. This story freaks me out so bad. Another reason to stay out of the woods and the Mothman has actually appeared all over the place, in West Virginia. So this is a particular movie that came out in 2002 starring Richard Gere. And he plays a journalist whose wife experiences a strange moth-like vision immediately before she's killed in a car accident. And 2 years later, I guess during driving to an interview, he suddenly finds himself hundreds of miles out of his way in the remote town of Point Pleasant, West Virginia, where there have been a proliferation of Mothman sightings. And of course, his research concludes that the visions are omens of disaster, and that is actual things that were predicted by sightings of this Mothman creature. So really freaky stuff. And I remember, I'm glad I didn't see this movie before we went to West Virginia, but I did see Wrong Turn, and that did not help either. So it's just like, I'm not getting out of the car. If we break down, I'm staying in the car, and I'm going to hopefully be able to get range on my cell phone. But really great movie. I highly recommend Mothman Prophecies. I know a lot of us have probably seen it, revisited. It's a freaky movie and just a really well done movie as well. The third movie is, now, I don't know if you would call this a cryptid, but it's just a really fun movie. Another found footage is called Troll Hunter from 2011. I cannot recommend this movie enough. And, trolls, a lot of people don't really talk about those, but I really loved this one, and always look for an excuse to talk about it. So I threw it in my list. Came out in 2011. And it centers on a man, while investigating reports of illegal poaching, 3 student filmmakers encounter a man who slays trolls for the Norwegian government. And let me tell you, the effects in this one are fantastic. When you finally get a look at the troll, or trolls, actually, in this case, it sounds pretty outlandish, but it's fantastic. It's a Norwegian film. It's got subtitles, but it is I love foreign films. I just feel like we miss out on so much when we don't want to do subtitles. Foreign horrors are fantastic, and this is no different. It's a found footage, so it really feels really realistic, and the effects are fantastic in this one. I highly recommend this one. I think it was streaming on Tubi at one point. I don't know if it still is, but definitely track it down if you can. The fourth movie is centering on another Bigfoot type legend, and it's called Willow Creek. And the thing about this one that I love is that it's directed by Bobcat Goldthwait, and we all remember him from the Police Academy movies. While he went into filmmaking and made and I just actually saw this one I think a few months ago. I had a hard time finding it, and just happened to be on television. And it's another found footage. It centers on a man and his girlfriend who camp in the woods to capture firsthand evidence of Bigfoot. And it's shot very documentary style. but I'm telling you, it has one of the most intense scenes. It kind of reminds me of Blair Witch at times, when they're basically in the tent and this creature that appears to be a Bigfoot is attacking the tent. It's just fantastic. It really ups the tension later on in the movie, and it is just one of those movies that just really freaks you out. Again, you'll recall this movie if you happen to go camping after it, and any little sound outside your tent is probably going to have you on edge. So definitely check out Willow Creek. Another really good take on the Bigfoot cryptid. And then Ken mentioned something, and I'd made this list previously, so I swear I didn't steal his answer, but Alligator from 1980. This is a classic. This movie freaked me out so bad when I was a kid. I watched it like last year, and I thought this is so like over the top cheesy, but I loved it. But it plays on the fact that there was a giant alligator in the sewers, and apparently it centers on a herpetologist who's helping a detective track down her flushed away pet, now a king-sized mutant alligator called Ramon. I forgot his name was Ramon. And this cracked me up. I'd forgotten all about that, but there is like some fantastic scenes in this. This movie scared me so bad. I mean, there's literally like an alligator like crashing somebody's, I think it's their wedding reception. It's fantastic. I cannot recommend this one enough. It's a classic. If you're a horror fan, definitely check out Alligator from 1980. Again, it's I guess you could kind of call this one an urban legend as well. Maybe not so much a cryptid, but something that we definitely think of when we hear folklore and legends from cities and towns that we live in. We've all heard these stories, and I just absolutely avoided sewers after this. I was just all set on that. And the last one, which I was not sure, and we all know it's a fictitious movie, although it was portrayed very realistically, was the Blair Witch Project from 1999. And it's centers on the filmmakers covering the Blair Witch there in Burkittsville, Maryland. But apparently it is actually based on a real legend of a witch there in Burkittsville. And there's a lot of controversy over whether or not this witch exists, but there is, sorry, my mom is coming in, so we're live, so just bear with me. But there is actually folklore surrounding a witch out there that people swear was indeed a witch that frequented the area. So I'm going to close it out, and I'm going to, because we all know the story of the Blair Witch, and I'm going to go around to the group and find out what some of their favorite cryptids are. And I'm going to start with Ken this time, because I usually make him go last. So I'm going to start with Sandra's episode. I'm going to pick him first.
I'm going to make fun of you because your mom.
I know. I'm like, oh, Lord, here we go. She's early.
Your mom goes to college.
Sabotage. Like audio bomb.
I can only imagine you're gonna like press the mute and start yelling at her, like, "Mom, you're ruining this show."
Right.
Mom, make me some nachos.
I know. You're gonna make me start laughing now. Ken, what are your cryptid movies?
Oh God. So I was looking at your list, and I really couldn't think of any because you had such a good list there, and I didn't know if Paranormal Activity fell under one, but I kind of thought, maybe that may fall into one. I'm not sure, but yeah, I really didn't come up with anything. I dropped the ball on this one. I'm sorry. So I'm gonna pass it on over to anybody who wants to go. Just turn your little microphone on, and you got a movie, let me know. I'm just dying because your mom walked in. It's just funny to me.
I know Chris has got some. I've seen so many great classic cryptid movies out there. I know Chris had some for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I got a bunch of them. I'm not going to get to all of them, but I tell you, there's I'm trying to get the name of an actress here because it's actually a sad story, but we'll skip that one. You could go all the way back to the Universal classics. We've mentioned The Creature from the Black Lagoon a dozen times in this movie, but that probably is the first real classic cryptid movie. But let's go fast forward to the emergence of the Sci-Fi Channel, which you could get another cryptid every week. But one of my favorites is, and you guys know this, Crocodile 2 Death Swamp. And to show you how much I love that movie, chapter 1 of my upcoming book, hopefully it'll be in August, Slaughter of the Danger Dames, will pay homage to Crocodile 2 Death Swamp. It's great. It's a beautiful stewardess battling giant alligators in the swamp. So you got a plausible plot right away, and gritty reality, and this thing is great. And you got, if you haven't seen it, you got to see it. Mongolian Death Worm, another good one. Victoria Pratt in a lot of good movies. I don't know why she hasn't been on the show yet. She is amazing and quite attractive. And John Mack is in it as well. But Mongolian Death Worm takes place in Mongolia, shot in Texas. If you've ever been to Mongolia, if you've ever been to Texas, same thing. Except Mongolia is like Texas without the glitter. Okay. Sasquatch Mountain. Lance Henriksen's in it. It's a Serena Vincent is in it as the damsel in much distress. And Bigfoot is quite mean in this. And another one you need to see if you haven't. And one more, one that you might be able to find on Mystery Science Theater 3000, but it is just a classic, The Legend of Bogey Creek. It's just so much right with that movie. I think it takes place near Texarkana on the Arkansas-Texas border. But The Legend of Bogey Creek is probably a movie that many of you will have only seen it on Mystery Science Theater 3000, but even on there, it's entertaining. So I will pass it on to whoever turns their microphone on next.
I love that you mentioned Legend of. I was waiting for somebody to mention Legend of Boggy Creek. It's definitely campy. I've not seen it, but I have to see it now after doing a little bit of research on some of these other films. And I heard it is definitely campy, but it sounds like a lot of fun. So I was hoping somebody would say that one. So Omar's got his mic on, so I'm excited to hear about his choices.
I don't want to jump in line. I don't know if Casey's going to give out an answer or not. Give me a signal. Are you or are you not?
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's a movie has been made about it exactly. It's the Rougarou, the Cajun werewolf, dog, man, dog, bear, animal. And
I know what you're talking about now. Yes.
Yeah, yep. And I mean, there's been tons of werewolf movies, but I'm not sure if anyone's done anyone about the Rougarou.
Well, they
How do you spell that?
I definitely want to see something about it.
Chris will have to fact check that.
Go ahead, Omar.
Well, Chris does some fact checking there. I will throw out my ultimate answer and Harry and the Hendersons, and I'm surprised Ken did not say that. Come on, man,
I
was
dropped
right
the
there
ball.
for you.
That's because that movie scarred me when I was a little kid. When he punched him in the face and they told him to leave, and I was like, "No, that's Harry. Like, why would you tell him?" That's
right.
I
Loved Harry. Yeah.
Come on. Okay. So besides Harry and the Hendersons, and I'm sure Dexter will love that. This is I can't say I'm an expert in this one. This one's not my field, but I will put on my promote hat and give a shout out to Small Town Monsters. If you like these kind of movies, they do a great job. They do some found footage with this as well. I've done a lot of press releases for them over the time, and they certainly are in this area. The Mark of the Bell Witch, the Mothman Legacy, Terror in the Skies. They got a whole bunch of them. They're kind of indie horror based, so maybe you haven't heard of them, but I'll just throw my promote horror hat there and kind of shout them out to cover my answer for this one besides Harry and the Hendersons.
Well, I love that Harry and the Hendersons got mentioned because that was a great movie. Okay, go ahead, Ken.
No, as I was thinking, my mind is all over the place, but and I don't know, like I said, I don't know if this qualifies as one, but we kind of covered this in one of our earlier episodes. It was The Fire in the Sky.
Yeah.
That movie is, if you think about it, is one of the scariest movies that I mean, you don't know if the guy's telling the truth. If you go into looking at the real facts or whatever, he's getting a lot of popularity of this and just his account of being abducted. But the way they made this movie was freaking scary, man. Like, that's probably how it would be if you got abducted by an alien, and there were scenes that were just, they knocked it out of the park, and it was so scary. And then you find out this is based on true events. I don't know, but Yeah, I don't know if that qualifies.
I think it does because there's a lot of people that debate about UFOs, and I personally think there's a lot of truth to it. And I Bigfoot and things like that. There's so many different people from so many different places, and they can't all be wrong. They can't all be imagining things. They can't all be just seeing things. There's got to be some kind of truth somewhere, and I don't know what the answers are, but there's got to be something. And to think that we're alone in this universe, given the complexity and the vastness of the universe, to think that we're the only creatures alive on a planet, no, I'm not buying it. Just not buying it. So.
Well, I do want to mention one thing that you said that was probably one of the smartest things that you've ever said in your life.
Bite me.
No, you just said, I don't have all the answers.
Right.
You're probably the only woman ever to say that. And I'm glad that we have it recorded.
And probably admit that I peed in the shower and everything too. Probably. Way too much information.
Oh yeah, no, it's you know what, it's true. It's a scary subject because I mean you're seeing the stuff that the Pentagon has to release all this stuff now, the thing that they've seen, and I told you, I tell people all the time, the 3 UFOs that I've seen, I don't know if there was aliens driving them or what, but I've seen things flying in the sky that were not helicopters. But yeah, great Sinister Six tonight, Muse. I love it. I loved everybody else's answers. Casey, do you have anything for us tonight, or are you just kind of hanging around?
Yeah, I just came to warn you about the Rougarou. No. Hey, Muse, ask your mom to make us some Totino's pizza rolls.
We have some too, I swear to God. Freezer, ready to be made.
I'm just here to eat.
Right? Oh, they're talking about food earlier, and I'm like, this is making me hungrier. Oh my goodness. I'm so glad. I've missed you so much, Casey.
Oh gosh. I don't know how you've been surviving with these guys.
I know, right? I'm dying over here.
It's just me. The other guys just kind of laugh.
Yeah. Ken is the worst. We love him though.
All right. So nothing then, right, Casey?
No,
You're
I don't have anything. I'm good.
Oh, cool. All right. We're gonna jump on over to HorrO and then promote HorrO Rundown. If you have anything, HorrO, I know we talked
before.
About it.
Yeah, no, I got something. But before we move on here, Chris and Casey need to answer the question. This goes back to the interview, so maybe people may be confused, but you can find the rest of our answers there. We need to know: do you guys pee in the shower?
No, no. I recycle, and I get yelled at by environmentalists about it. And like we had a bunch of environmentalists on who just would think nothing of polluting the Chesapeake Bay. And I just want to say, not me. I might not recycle, but I do not pee in the shower.
I can't say that I pee in my own shower, but
other people's shower. Yes.
Don't invite. Note to self: don't invite Casey to take a shower in your shower because she might pee in your shower, but not hers.
Oh my God! I love it.
But if I go on camping trips, I pee in the woods often. That's recycling, right?
We'll take it, and other people's houses. Okay, we got that on tape now. Ken, do not mess up this recording. So now we can move on. Now we've embarrassed everybody. And if you have no idea what we're talking about, you definitely have to check out the interview if you missed it earlier. I don't have a big whole thing this week. I kind of want to chime it down because I know we have Casey here and some other things going on. But I just want to kind of, this is a 100th episode. We're moving on. We're moving forward. And we just kind of passed halfway mark in the year. So I just want to remind horror fans out there, we're going into the best time of the year. I know last year sucked with COVID. Lots of stuff was canceled. We didn't get to do a lot of things. Haunted house attractions were down. Movies you couldn't go to. So things are coming back, at least in some places. You still need to be safe in certain places. But things are coming back. Shows are coming back. We have American Horror Story starting this week. We have Walking Dead next month. I know nobody watches except me, but that's still coming back. We have movies coming in the theaters. We've already gone through a couple of them. I'm about to go through a few. Haunted attractions are coming back. Like Universal, both in Hollywood and here in Orlando are opening. Hollow Screams is opening. We mentioned one, and again, Harrison's movie features one. I'm not sure whether they're going to open for the regular season or not, but you can check that out. Promote Horror will be sharing that kind of information. Lots of them are hiring right now. If you want to do that, that's awesome. So yeah, horror is going to get rolling. We are going to have Halloween this year, and so I'm just going to throw out some of the movies that we also have to look forward to, and these are our big feature films. Also, a reminder: festivals are kicking off. Some major festivals are going on now. So a lot of the movies that we talked about last year, and even rolling into this year, and we've highlighted on the show, yeah, we got those from festivals. So those movies are going to be coming out now soon and give us something to talk about going in the future. So be on the lookout for that. But some of the major movies, just as a reminder, um, to everybody out there, I know you might know some of them. Old starts next week. Don't Breathe Part 2. The Night House, Candyman, obviously. Malignant, Adam's Family 2, we've talked about. Hotel Transylvania, Transformania, that's a lot to say. Obviously, Halloween Kills. Not Chris, Ken will be at Dune. He'll be at the first showing of that. The Last Night in Soho, Antlers, Ghostbusters. We know John is waiting for Ghostbusters, and Chris is waiting for the Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. So those are just some of the major titles that come out now. So I'm gonna throw it to you guys, and it doesn't have to be one of those movies, but going into the Halloween season, going into the back half of the year, horror-wise, Halloween-wise, what are you guys looking forward to? Again, it could be one of these movies, it could be Halloween returning in general, or whatever it is. And I'm gonna throw it to Casey since she hasn't been here, and let her go first.
I got to tell you, I am really looking forward to Dune. Big time.
I have to fly out and see it with you then, dude. I don't
Oh
know.
man, I'm
Yeah.
a big fan of the old Dune, so I've been creeping this one for the past year. I'm really looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to Ghostbusters. I'll admit that.
Cool. I know John is looking forward to Ghostbusters. We'll see what they do there. That'll be after Halloween. So that'll be an extra treat. Chris, you want to go?
Yeah, you know me. Anything Resident Evil, I am all over. And whether it be an animated version or remake or a new movie, I would love to see one of those this calendar year. And then there's one I keep meaning to ask you about, or you mentioned it once, maybe 8 months ago, but wasn't there going to be a series? And I know a lot of them just got kaput on Event Horizon.
There was, but there hasn't been any major updates recently about that. And yeah, it'll be on the lookout. Certainly, if I see anything, I will keep you updated. But yeah, I think Sci-Fi is working on a couple of things now, and there's something that they're working on. It's on the tip of my tongue. I can't remember, but yeah, that is one of the things that is to look forward to.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't know if they're going to sneak that in by the end of the year or not. But yeah, any updates, I'll make sure to send your way.
Yeah, we are looking for this family, the Zisi family. Even I'm the only demented one in it, but all four of us love Halloween. Not only the movies, but the actual seasons, dressing up, the movies, the scary stuff, the trick-or-treaters, the costumes, the pumpkins. My wife is a piano teacher, music teacher, and she says that her kids, not Matt and Victoria, but the kids she teaches, most creative time of the year for them is October, leading up to Halloween.
All right, Muse.
Okay. Well, there's a couple I've heard people talking about. I'm still looking forward to Antlers, which sounds kind of like a cryptid type story. A creature wreaking bloody havoc in Oregon town. I'm all in for that. That sounds good. Plus the poster is pretty cool. It's kind of really ominous, and I haven't heard a ton about it, people talking about it, but I am still looking forward to that one. And Old by M. Night Shyamalan. I know that some folks feel his movies are hit or miss. I'm a huge fan. I love the really way out there type of films he does, and they really twist your mind into a pretzel, and I love it. So I'm looking forward to that. It takes place on a beach. See, going to the beach. It's just there's trouble, there's chaos, and everybody starts aging rapidly, and I'm like, what the? Okay, I gotta see this. This sounds really interesting. And of course, Halloween Kills. Like I said, keep making them, and I'm gonna keep watching them. So I will hand it over to Ken.
Wait. Before I go, can you just say Oregon again?
Oregon?
No, you just say Oregon.
Oregon. I've heard it say tomato, Oregon, Oregon, Oregon.
What is it?
Oregon.
What
Oregon.
is it?
Oregon. I don't know. It
Well,
depends
no. You got to pick one. Which one is it?
Oregon.
Oregon. Okay.
Making me enunciate.
I'm sorry.
Oregon Trail.
The Oregon Trail, man. You died of dysentery. I used to kill.
There's gonna be
I
lots
used
of
to kill
organs
so many
if this creature
buffalo.
gets a hold of somebody. There's gonna be some organs all over the place. It's pretty bloody. I love it.
I would just take the gun and kill the buffalo, and I'd have so much meat. I fucking love that game. Oh man, Oregon Trail. If you haven't played that game, man, you gotta bring that back. Oregon Trail. Check that out.
Red Dead Redemption is another must play game.
You're really like jumping the gun there. We're going from Oregon Trail, which is like 16 gig, bits, and now you're going to Red Dead Redemption.
I just made me think of that when you're talking about killing the buffalo and all
that Mountain Dew's going right to your head, dude.
I know it.
Yeah, I will jump in and say that they have the best Oregon Trail commercial out now. If you haven't caught it, go to YouTube and Google it for like some new Oregon Trail game. Whatever. It's like the girl comes on and she's like, yeah, everybody just dies here on the Oregon Trail. You're like, what? What?
It's true. You die all the time. Like your wheels broke or whatever. Anyway, Oregon Trail. I'm looking forward to that movie. All right. Oh man, I'm dying. Stranger Things, man. You know me, HorrO. I'm a big Stranger Things fan. I think it's due out. They have a whole exhibit in Times Square here that you can sign up and walk through it and whatnot. But I'm really, really excited for that. Casey, yeah, Dune all the way, man. I cannot wait for that. I think the cast is phenomenal. I watched the original so many times. I haven't read the book. I should, but I see how thick that book is, and that's like a Bible. It's like 2 Bibles. But I can't wait for that. I'm trying to think if there's any other movies. So we, HorrO and I, at least, I don't know about you guys, but we get a lot of movies sent to us that are coming out later in the year. We get to review. They haven't come out yet. There's a few that I've watched that I can't wait for them to come out, and hopefully we get everybody on a show and stuff. But I mean, even Where the Scary Things Are, the movie, it's an awesome movie. I can't wait for everybody to watch this movie. It's really great, and hopefully it all the things that I've been told it happens. But yeah, that's something I'm looking forward to. But HorrO, I'll throw it back to you. I'd probably just say Stranger Things. That's what I'm looking forward to the most. Maybe Hill House. I like the first one, but it kind of was okay as it came, as it got later in the episodes. But maybe Hill House. I don't know. I might check it.
Oh yeah, there's plenty of Stranger Things is obviously huge. You don't really get much bigger than that. I haven't seen it. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I'm gonna binge watch it once they make the announcement that that's coming out. They just had The Witcher Part 2. They gave a little teaser of that. They gave a teaser for The Kingdom, which is awesome zombie craziness out of Korea, South Korea, or somewhere over there. That they're going to do another one of those. So lots of series, lots of movies, lots of everything coming out. You guys mentioned Antlers, and I just want to say real quick, hopefully, that movie had a lot of hype and a lot of going for it, when it was first announced and going forward. And hopefully that's not one of those movies that kind of suffer the COVID there, where people are like, yeah, we heard that and we got excited for that, and we're just not anymore. So hopefully once they kind of start pushing that again, it doesn't go quietly. Hopefully it can kind of have that big bang that it was going to have if it would have came out before. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to kind of give a chance for everybody to talk about what is coming up next, and then obviously we'll have more on the show and more going forward. Like Ken said, there's a lot of good movies out there that we are hunting for interviews for right now, and it's going to be fun.
Yeah, I know normally, Chris, we do your segment, but Harrison asked if we did not do a review yet. So if you want to just say like a few things about the movie, I know you kind of jumped in late on the interview, but if you want to go ahead and say just a couple things without revealing too much. But yeah, he mentioned that we were supposed to keep it under wraps as much as we can.
Yeah, that's fine. Absolutely. I'm going to time my review with his okay. So he's going to text me, and 10 minutes later, my review will be on my blog. But just to say a couple of non-plot things about this movie, it's a vicious, brutal movie and 100% believable. It is a monster movie. There is a monster, but the real monster in the movie is a lot scarier than the big 2D thing that goes around it. And this is a terrific movie where I think a lot of parents would make a very wise decision if they watched it with their children. It's not salacious. It's not uncomfortable as far as something that you would watch with your children. In a sense, it's a plot line of a classic monster movie, but there's some things that parents and kids need to have a discussion about. It might be a very nice discussion. It's not necessarily uncomfortable, depending where your kids are, but certainly, this is. I guess I could say an important movie, and one that should be a family movie, not in the Disney sense of a family movie, but a lot of questions are posed in this movie that are so important. And this is not going to be a review where we'll go into the plot, but the cast, who you will meet in just a moment if you listen to the podcast, are so impressive, and I can't wait for you to meet them. And but I'd love to see a lot more, and soon I will, but not tonight.
Yes. All right. So hopefully you guys are able to watch this movie soon. I really enjoyed it. If you're watching the YouTube channel, you can kind of see some of the images here. I wasn't allowed to share a lot. He gave me a couple to use, but the look on their faces kind of sums up if you can see what's going on in there. There you go. Anyway, I want to bring it on home here, but before I go, we've done 100 episodes. We've had a lot of different people on. Do you guys want to kind of talk about any moments or interviews or movies that we've watched that you really like? HorrO, I'm going to actually ask you first. You put out this really cool video of imagining some of your favorite movies, because those are, I think, the same for me that I liked a lot. So do you want to kind of talk about your time here on the show with us?
Yeah, well, it's been obviously a pleasure. I can't say I've done 100 episodes. Obviously, you and Muse can kind of take that title more, but I'm definitely proud and happy to do this. Just coming for what Muse always says, overcoming a lot of anxiety to do this. It's something I kind of wanted to do, and you kind of convinced me to do it. And Road HorrO always wanted to kind of had the idea to do a podcast, really didn't know how to do it. And then along came Ken, and he kind of asked me, and it kind of happened. And I couldn't be happier. It's another platform, another place to talk with you guys, talk horror, spread the horror. I got Dexter with me now. So, I have new friends here. I mean, we were friends on Twitter, but even more friends now because we also talk off the scenes here. So it's great. And as far as movies and everything like that, yeah, I put a little package together. Those are some of the better movies that I thought were from last year. And I think those were prime moments for me on the podcast is getting a chance to spend time with the actors and with some of the writers, directors, people behind these movies. It's really special when you get to talk to them. I mean, it's awesome when you get to see these movies and when you really like them, and then you have these people come on and you get to talk with them. The Dark and the Wicked, if you listen to the show, last year, I went on for many episodes how much I love that movie. It ended up being my #1 movie last year. And thanks to Ken was able to get Michael Abbott on. And I got to do a lot of that interview there because I had been the only one to see it at the time. So I really valued that because I loved the movie and I valued talking to him. Of course, Muse had to go ruin it and make him cry, but that's okay. It happens. We talked to Anything for Jackson, the writer director of that. That was my #2 movie. We talked with Hosts. Those are great movies from last year again. So many of the top movies from last year, we got to spend time with people representing that. And going into this year, I know I counted it as last year, but it's this year for a lot of people as the Queen of Black Magic. I reached really far to grab that interview all the way from Indonesia. That was a fabulous movie. Psycho Gorman, Hunky Boys. We've been talking about that ever since we've done that interview. And to me, that is still the #1 movie. I mean, there's some great movies out there now. So yeah, those kind of things are really special to me, to get top movies and get those people on and to talk about now. And like I just mentioned a few minutes ago, festival season is hitting now. We're gonna see these movies start popping up, and they're gonna, the ones that are gonna shine, that are not the list that I just gave you, but those type of movies that are in the festivals and making scenes and that will eventually end up on Shudder are going to be hitting these festivals soon, and we're going to jump right to it and try to get the talent from these movies and shows on the show. So yeah, that's it for me blabbering. I know Dexter kind of want to give a shout out to the Castle Freak interview. I know neither of us were there, but he liked Emily's little Christmas tree in the back. He was very enthusiastic about that because it had skulls all over it. So that was a shining moment for him. And I'll throw it back to you or whoever wants to go next.
Yeah, I'll give it over to Chris, man. What was your favorite moments here on our show with the 100th?
I had a lot of fun when I first met you guys on episode 3 that followed a interview I did of you and Muse, Ken. That's, you can find that interview on my blog. But from there, we instantly hit it off. And I don't think a lot of people realize that this isn't a professional baseball team where they land at the airport. You got 25 different cabs for 25 different players. We're in constant communication with each other about the silliest, most inane, inappropriate stuff throughout the week. Occasionally, we'll actually talk about something horror, but it is if anybody's reading our texts, they would think we were all psycho, but we have an instant chemistry here. And we've also, I think, been able to develop an instant chemistry with our guests, a very unusual phenomena. We have, all of us here are relationship-oriented people. That's usually a lot of trouble. Usually you need some goal-oriented people in there. But this is a touchy-feely. We're into each other, and I guess I just, on the selfish note, I can be bribed. Send me gifts, and people have. Lana Barron, Curse of Aurora, what wonderful film took place up in Quebec. I mentioned the tarot card scene, and Lana sent me the tarot card.
That's cool.
Yeah, so keep sending me the gifts. And Lana, I know there's a whole deck of tarot cards. I have one. I'm just putting that out there. I mentioned on the shout outs at the end of a movie, Terror at Bigfoot Pond, and what a wonderful experience that movie must have been and how much I enjoyed it. Well, in the mail, I then got an autographed copy of the script. Hey, if you guys, David, if you ever do a sequel to Terror at Bigfoot Pond, got to write me in. I got to be a character. Let me be the cranky gas station guy that tells everybody they're all going to die and they got to go home. But I'm ready for that. I'll come down to New Mexico on my own dime. And I got to meet some idols of mine. It's a thrill to meet Harrison Smith. I've seen so many of his movies. It's a thrill to meet Debbie Rochon, Amanda Weiss. I remember seeing Amanda Weiss when I was like a teenager, and she was 2 at the time. And now we're sort of the same age, and it was kind of neat. And what a wonderful guest she is. I mean, we wanted to talk to her about Nightmare on Elm Street, but I brought up a little known movie she was in, and she went a fascinating diatribe on Shakma with Roddy McDowell. But I could go on and on, but I'm going to pass it on to either Casey or Muse.
Casey, I know that, you were on and off here and there. But yeah, do you have any favorite moment? I think I know what you're going to say, but do you have...
I think I know
yeah.
what you're going to say.
Yeah,
but
I think so.
There have been some good movies. I mean, I really enjoyed Housebound and Puka Lives and In the Tall Grass, and meeting the directors like Barry J for Ashes. And, that was a great conversation. And, I would never have gotten the opportunity if you hadn't drugged me here and introduced me to all of your friends. And it's been really cool getting to know everybody. And I'm still a part of the chats on and off, and yes, they are wildly inappropriate and twisted, but they're always amusing. So yeah, I mean, I'm really happy that I got a chance to hang out with you guys.
I thought for sure you would mention Antrim.
Oh, Antrim is my absolute favorite.
Squirrel.
Absolute favorite. Hands down.
Antrim
The
squirrel.
Squirrel.
That is one of our highest rated shows, actually. The Antrim episode, that one, and the gingerbread man, the ginger.
Ginger
Oh no,
Dead.
Santa Sleigh one was what the watch along we did was big. It's like crazy amount of listens on that one. Musey, what do you got, man? We started this just me and you, and then we picked up these stragglers on the end here.
And I wouldn't have it any other way. I think we all complement each other perfectly. Everybody is so awesome. And the chemistry, I've heard this so many times from different people that listen to the show. They say our chemistry is unmatched with any other podcast. No disrespect to any other podcast. But people love how we just vibe, and it's just awesome. And like I said, it's been a great ride, and I hope there's 100 million more. But yeah, you guys have touched on a lot of great episodes, and so I don't really want to kind of repeat too many. Of course, Michael Abbott, again with Dark and the Wicked, just a really awesome guy, great heart. And we were at the height of COVID when we had him on, and he shared a really real moment with us and stuff. And it got emotional, and none of us were ready for it. And I was like over here about to cry and myself, and I was glad I was on mute. But it was just an amazing moment and just fantastic. The guys from 1VR were just such a blast. I remember laughing so hard that interview. Alok showed back up for my birthday, along with Casey and John Grant as well. And that was a lot of fun. And courtesy of Ken, that was a great surprise. And yeah, Psycho Gorman was a blast. Just a really fun movie. I actually ordered the Hunky Boy edition the other day, and I told Jamie he has to watch it with me. I'm not really satisfied. Yes, I love it. I had ordered the deluxe edition. Of course, you talked about childhood dreams being realized. The Lost Boys interview was just, if somebody would told me we were doing that at some point, I would have been like, yeah, right. But it was fantastic. Jameson Nylander was a lot of fun. It was really cool to hear about a lot of behind the scenes stuff with the Lost Boys. Larry Fessenden was a lot of fun. I still want us all to go out and eat with him. I think we would get wild with Larry Fessenden. I think that would be a wild night. And that would be so much fun. Betsy Baker was a lot of fun from Evil Dead as well. Belinda Blasky was great. I really liked Ralph Sarchi. That was a really cool interview. And that book, I still can't recommend enough. Like I said, I read a preview of the book, and it literally had me sweating. I don't really get freaked out by books too often. And that movie freaked me out pretty bad. More recently, yes, Austin Ford was a lot of fun, digging up the dead. Digging Up to Death was great as well. So yeah, there's just been so many. And any episode where we have Casey, the 50th was great, and I miss her so much. And any episode that Casey's on is always my favorite for sure, because she fend off Ken too. For sure. There's been so many good ones. It's hard to just narrow it down. I think we could sit here and talk about it all night, but I won't. There's so many good ones. And Harrison is always awesome. One of the best interviews for sure. He's an amazing person. So much fun.
Well, geez, I had this idea to do this show, and I remember, Muse and I met online. That sounds so weird, but on Twitter, because she just put out these tweets that were just phenomenal, and we hit it off right away. And I was looking for a partner, and I knew I wanted a female co-host. I knew that, and then from there, this thing just kind of took off, and HorrO and Muse, you guys both had the same type of anxiety to do this. You were hesitant to say yes right away. Had to think about it. Chris, you were just a fireball. You're like, let's do it. And do it. And then Casey, I just, you and I would watch horror movies, and one time I went to visit Casey in Nashville, and we just sat and watched Lore, this popular podcast, and we watched the films, or the short. It was just one of my favorite times was hanging out with you. Casey, and you've been my oldest friend this is actually next month is my 11th year in New York. So that means you and I have been friends for 11 years, because I met you like 3 days after being, right. And here you are, celebrating with us. And I mean, some of the episodes that we've done, I mean, Betsy Baker was probably one of like where I geeked out the most, because that was somebody like Evil Dead is one of my all-time favorite horror movies. And then she haunted my dreams, this woman. Art the Clown, Nick Vince, he was great. Devaney Penn, she was a hottie. What else? Harrison Smith, obviously, just behind the scenes, man. That guy calls me and texts me all the time, and he is just a good dude, and he comes off really rough and just straightforward, but you want that from somebody that's just really direct, and he's just been amazing, and he's kind of put us in this situation where hopefully our show takes off. I can't talk enough about Steve Kostansky and the young gal there that they did the Psycho Gorman. What's her name? I forgot, but the Psycho Gorman is definitely horror. I agree. That's one of my favorite films that we've done on this show. I love that movie so much. Yeah, I think we spoke to the Hell House LLC director there. His name's slipping my mind right now, but I loved Hell House LLC. It was a scary movie. Like, there's not a lot of movies that scared me, and Hell House LLC, just the first one, had me up at night, and it was just a scary movie. But yeah, we've been very blessed, and we started to measure our success by people coming to us and asking them to promote their films, and they're not stupid films. They've been pretty good films for the most part. Some we don't always like all of them 100%, but they've been really great, and we've been really honored to share that and to have these guests on from all over the world. This morning I looked, and we were number 2 in Australia for movie review podcast. Number 2. That's crazy. Our downloads are over time, I forgot the number, but we're in the almost like 80,000 or something. I don't even know. It's something crazy high, and the weekly numbers are great, and it trends up all the time. And the YouTube channel, we're getting there. I'm really bad at tech. I'm sorry, but I'll get to that in a minute. But I'm trying to do new things with the YouTube channel. But like I said before, this is all our free time. It's 10:15 at night on the East Coast. We're all on the East Coast. We're all tired. Chris is really tired. I know that. But we love talking horror, and we love communicating with everybody and meeting new people. On that note, one of my favorite things about this show is just the relationships that we've built on the outside and Twitter and social media. John Grant, I mean, man, you've been there since day one. Well, not day one really, but you've come through, and you're every single episode. You came on our show, you honored us with your presence, and it was really late where you're at. So thank you so much, John. Luna, you know what? I don't know you, but I love you, man. You just always supporting the show, always retweeting our stuff, always in the chat room, just a ball of energy. Thank you so much. Luke, you've been hanging around lately. I like it, man. Thank you so much. I also, Jamie, I got to give you a shout out. You got to put up with Muse. After we hang up, we're done with her, but you got to put up with her in your house. And I'm going to send you a big bottle of Xanax, because I'm sure that's, something you probably need. Tony, you're in the chat room. Tony, you've become a friend, and we've been on your show a few times. Thank you so much for having us. Can't wait for the next round. There's a few other people here I'm forgetting, but I just wanted to shout. I know we're due shout outs at the end of the show, but there's a gentleman I'm working with, and he's done a lot of work where I'm going to promote next week on our show. He's redid our logo, which I'll present soon. He's given us some new opening, and I just didn't have time to incorporate it into this 100th episode. But James Boogeyman, James is just a talented individual. You got to check out his page. He's just amazing. He's an amazing artist, and I'm an artist myself, but this guy just blows me away. And I rarely do use other people's art for my own stuff if I can't do it, but his style just blew me away. So J_Boogeyman, he's on Instagram. You could check that out. Check out his webpage, Creature Core. It's creature-core.creator. He is just a phenomenal artist, and he's done so much for our show. I can't wait to share some of the stuff, especially with you guys. So I'm going to send you guys a text after this, but I will be presenting him his work later on, and I can't wait for that. But anyway, if you guys want to throw any quick shout outs, I thank you to you guys, to you for making this show and making my dream come true to do this podcast. And like I said, I look forward to Tuesday nights. You know what? I love talking horror. I just love talking to you guys. I laugh. Muse, I pick on you all the time, but it's all out of love. Dexter, I actually don't love you, but I do like picking on you a lot. And you're our latest edition. You don't do much, but I do like picking on you. But anyway, yeah, if you guys want to just do a quick shout out, and then we'll wrap up the show. We'll start with you, Chris, as always. But you got to put your microphone off mute before you go. It's past your bedtime. I'll give you a pass.
It is. But hey, no specific shout outs, but there will be some forthcoming because I know there was 2 or 3 and they all slipped my mind, and that happens after 10 o'clock at night. But thank you, everybody. And we leave this show, and I tell you, I'm going to be looking just as forward to number 101 as we were to 100.
HorrO, what do you got for us, man?
Kind of like Chris, no one specific, but I'll just say real quick, like I always say to my website, to Twitter, Facebook, anything that I do, my blog, whatever, if you've spent a minute of time listening to us, if you spent every episode listening to us, it doesn't matter. If you've tweeted about us, Facebook about us, Instagram, whatever you've done to support the show, even if it's the smallest of things, we appreciate it. We love you for it. We thank you for it. We thank everybody who's come on the show, guests, directors, writers. We thank, like I said last week, the PR people that help us set up all these interviews. They, never get mentioned, but, we don't do this all on our own. Some we do, some we don't, some we need help with. So anybody who's contributed to making the show, I know Ken reached out to several people to get tech support here and there and do all the craziness he does. Thank you to Ken for doing all that. And like I said, I can't do a podcast. I would never be able to put all that stuff together. So I thank you to him for doing that. And obviously thank you for Casey, Chris, and Muse for being on the show and making it work every week and putting up with Dexter, because I know he talks so much. It's incredible. But yeah, and that's it. And as always, love horror, love the horror community, love everybody out there. Make everybody feel better. Forget all this hate. Just ignore it and spread the horror.
Casey, do you want to throw anything out there?
Yeah, just all of the stuff that goes on in the background is super impressive. And Ken does so much. I do not know how you ever see your family, to be honest.
Yeah.
I've always been super impressed, and all of you guys do such a great job. And I'm really happy that I got a chance to come on and meet all of you.
Oh, you're so nice. Like I see you guys more than my family. Musey, what do you got for us?
Oh yeah, everybody's just touched on everything so perfectly. Yeah, shout out to the chat, everybody that's been there. Luke did an amazing job for helping us out art wise, and just he's such a great creative person, and I'm just so glad that he's been joining in on the chats along with John and Luna. And welcome to James Boogeyman. I'm excited to see what he's got in store as well. So many great, all of you guys. I mean, yeah, no specific shout outs, just for all the people that have supported us and been there and just been amazing. I don't want to get too gushy. I love you, Dexter. I've had way too many Mountain Dews. I'm starting to say I love you to everybody. It's like there may or may not be something in this Mountain Dew.
Got to cut you off on the Mountain Dews, man.
Like, no more for you. She's starting to say I love you, man. But yeah, I do love you guys. And, it's just been an amazing ride, and I hope we do a million more. And that's it for me.
Yeah, just once again, thank you so much, Luke. Also thank you for helping me out with that little project we're going to be doing here as well. I forgot to mention that. We'll get that incorporated into the show. But yeah, you know what? Next Tuesday is 101, and we're going to start it up, and we're going to kick it off right this summer. We've got some great shows planned up. HorrO and I have been working hard to get people on, and I just cannot wait to the next show. And it's like the sequel, and the next one gets better and better. And I appreciate every single one of our listeners and followers and supporters. Thank you so much from the bottom of all of our hearts. Till next week, my friends, keep it scary.